Welcome this evening. My name's Athena Trenton. I'm the Executive Director, if you haven't met me yet, of NAMI North Texas. And this is our annual membership meeting. It's a meeting that requires us, that is required by our nonprofit status to update you on the status of the organization. And sorry, I'm letting people into the meeting as I'm talking. So if I look away and I get a little bit distracted, that's what I'm doing, is just letting additional people into the meeting. But we've got many of our board members here tonight. We've got a lot of our community members here. And this is basically just a chance for us to, show you what's going on with NAMI North Texas, where we've been, where we're going, and introduce you to our board members if you haven't met them yet, as well as our staff members. And then we have a phenomenal presentation after the annual meeting, which will take about a half an hour, by our current president, outgoing president, Sherry Cusimano, and our current intern who's doing her master's in public health at Baylor University, Cherie Jackson. They'll be talking to us about mental health as a public health issue, as well as learning how to advocate for ourselves and our loved ones at the local, state, and national levels. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk to you about, just go over the agenda for this evening. And so right now I'm doing the executive director welcome. And so welcome everybody. It's really good to see you. We're really excited that we have the technology to be able to still, even during times like this, to still keep everybody connected and together and introduce more people into our NAMI family. We'll talk about the state of the organization a little bit, which is kind of talking about what's happened this year and where we're at right now, where we're going. I'd like you to meet our staff. We have one brand new staff member who just started last week, and there have been some changes since the annual meeting last year, including me as your executive director. Introducing current board members, because there's a few members we added over the summer that you may not have met yet. And then we have 4 outgoing board members who have met their term limits, so we cannot reelect them to new terms. And so we will be honoring them. And then after that, we have a presentation that I mentioned before by Cherie and Sherry about advocating for mental health and talking about it as a public health issue. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the state of the organization. So this has been a really interesting year. The picture here, I just want to tell you a little bit about the fraternity that comes and helps us out at the house. They did before COVID happened. They are absolutely amazing. They are the Betas from University of Texas, Arlington, and they have come and helped us move furniture, organize the office, and really just do a really thorough spring cleaning, and as well as get trained as volunteers and become presenters and volunteers. So I do want to recognize them. And that's part of the reason I put that picture up there, because they were a big piece of helping us get organized before COVID happened and before we had to start working remotely. And it was absolutely amazing with the organization that we had and the staff that we have. We were able to transition to 100% online programming within 2 weeks of having to work remotely. And I really want to recognize our staff and how hard they worked to make sure that we were still able to provide that supportive community that we really, we really hold closely and really want to make sure is always there for you. So that transition may have been a little bumpy. We apologize for any, miscommunications, anything that happened along the way. I think everybody was learning as they went along. And we're in a good place now. We're in a really good place where we've got a good routine going, and I have to commend Jen and Hannah for pulling together everything that they do and finding ways to still keep everybody involved, everybody active, and getting everybody trained, even if they were a little bit hesitant to use Zoom or any other online programs to continue our programming. So we're still just as strong as we ever were. And I'm really proud of them and really excited that we have the team we do. And same thing with our walk. We had 6 weeks to turn the walk from in person to a virtual event. Nobody had ever done anything like that before. We looked to NAMI National for guidance. They gave us some, but they were learning just as we were. And I hope any of you out there who did participate in our walk enjoyed it. And based on the amount that we've raised and the number of people who participated, we were a whole lot more successful than we ever expected with having to change platforms and change everything and on such short notice, and pretty much the world, let's say, not really knowing how to hold such large gatherings in a virtual manner with no in-person option. We were only expecting to raise about 50 or 60% of our $165,000 goal. And thank you to everybody who participated and raised money, and sponsors and everybody, because we actually ended up raising closer to 75% of our goal. We raised over $110,000, and that really is a testimony to the community that we have, the support that you give us and give each other, and how important NAMI North Texas is in our service area. So I would like to recognize everybody who had anything to do with NAMI Walks. We had some great news over the weekend as well, and we received some great news over the summer as well. We were a little bit worried because of current circumstances. We were a little worried about losing our office because we are allowed to stay in the little house at Meadows in the Wilson district for 10 years, and our 10-year lease will have expired next summer, so July 2021. And Sherry, our current and outgoing president, and I had a meeting with Meadows Foundation, and they actually offered to extend our lease for 5 years. So we will have an additional 5 years in that office, and I know everybody loves that little house. It's the best place to work. I've never worked in a better office in my life. I can't wait till we can go back. And I can tell you that the whole staff probably feels the same way. Financial status of the organization, even though current times are really uncertain, we have received a really exciting number of emergency grants to help us continue to provide services. As you all know, mental health is becoming more of a conversation now, which, if there's any kind of silver lining in the current situation with the pandemic, the silver lining is that the conversation is getting stronger about mental health. And, it's something, one of the major goals of NAMI is to get people talking about it, and people are supporting it. And that is helping us continue to stay on course with being able to, financially maintain the foundation that we need to keep moving forward. And so right now we are still sitting well financially. We are under budget because it actually costs us less to be virtual than it does to be in person. But we'll see what 2020 has in store for us. So the 2021 forecast is very, very uncertain. We are expecting to be virtual at least until next summer. NAMI National has already given us guidance on doing another virtual walk, but we will be much, much better prepared this time because nationally we've been through 2 rounds of walks. So we will have a lot of resources and a lot of creative ideas available to us for the next walk coming along. We are also following the lead of Meadows and the Wilson District. They are indefinitely closed, which means we have no meeting spaces in Meadows at this time. So for anyone who has participated in our support groups, our classes, or anything we had in person in the Meadows District at the carriage houses or in the conference center, that is definitely closed until April. And it may be closed longer. They're not willing to really give any dates anymore. They were trying to predict, and they just kind of gave up on predicting at this point in time. So we will continue to be virtual into 2021, but as soon as it is safe to go back in person, we're expecting to be able to impact a whole lot more people. Now that we have the technology to do so, we are planning to offer everything in a hybrid manner. So we will have in-person and virtual. So if you lack transportation one evening for a support group, you can jump on a support group, you know, on your computer or on your phone. If you prefer to be online, then we will have online options. If you want to be in person, we'll have in-person options. Or if you lack the technology and you can get to an in-person support group or a class, you can do that. So another silver lining coming out of the pandemic is that we will be able to reach more people and we will be much more accessible. So that's
Dr. Trenton,
yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but we can't see the PowerPoint.
I'm sorry. Let me see. Thanks for letting me know, Jen. I'm working on 2. Sorry, y'all. I'm working on 2. Let's see. 2 screens. So let's see if that works. How's that? Jen, can you see it?
We can see it now.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, sorry about that all. I'm working on 2 screens and it's just not it for some reason it should be better, but it's not. But there you go. So I've been through the transition to online programming, the NAMI Walks Your Way 2020, office lease was extended, financial status of the organization, and the 2021 forecast, and planning to end on a positive note saying we are going to be able to reach so many more people after this is over because we will be able to offer hybrid services, both online and in person. So watch for that when things are, in a place where we can start doing things in person again. And then I wanted to mention also our community impact. So community impact, this is from our 2019 impact statement. These are the numbers in relation to how many people that we helped in 2019. So that was over 11,000 people in 2019. And you can see that over 200 people we had over 200 meetings, just support group meetings, but over 2,000 participants. And over 3,000 students, staff, and parents participating in our youth programs, our Ending the Silence program. And we are on track to exceed those numbers.
Dr. Trenton, we can't hear you. We can hear you now.
Now you can hear me? My gosh, I don't know why my computer keeps changing things on me. I am so sorry, everybody. So, Cherie, what was the last thing you heard from me?
You were talking about the community impact, but now we can't see your slides.
That's weird. Okay. All right. Now you're seeing the slide. Are you hearing me too?
We can't see the slide, but we can hear
No,
you.
but you can hear me. Okay. My gosh, this is embarrassing. How's that?
Okay, we can see the slide. Jen, is this the right slide? Okay, you're good.
And you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. I am not touching anything else. Okay. So our impact, we impacted over 11,000 people in 2019. These numbers are from our impact report from last year. And as you can see, we held over 200 support group meetings and with over 2,000 participants. And we reached over 3,000 adolescents, their parents, and staff with our Ending the Silence program. And we're on track to exceed that this year. So we continue to grow, and we wouldn't grow without all of you and your support, and how much we can rely on all of our volunteers, because you are our presenters, you're our teachers, you're our facilitate group, you're a group support group facilitators. And so this really is, as a result of all of your efforts. As a staff, we just coordinate. It's you who really makes this happen. Now let's see if I can change slides without. Now, can you hear me and still see the slide?
We can. You're still on the community impact slide. So it doesn't look like you changed slides.
No.
I think now everybody's frozen.
Okay, so you're muted.
There we go.
Like, there you go. We can hear you.
Okay, are we back? I am so sorry, everybody. This is crazy. This was supposed to be over fairly quickly. So I'm going to do this quickly so we can get on and I can let Cherie and Sherry speak. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew who our current staff were, and especially the new people on board. There's me, the executive director. Most, if not all of you know Jen and Hannah. Jen is overseeing.
One thing, we can't see your slides.
No, we can't. Yeah.
Everybody's slow. It must be me.
I think you're frozen, Athena.
Okay, how are we doing? All right, so we're skipping slides. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to get to the presentation because I am so sorry. My husband and I can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. My husband and I are both trying to do Zoom presentations at the same time on the same network. So this is probably what the problem is. So this is our staff. Our new person is Deanna Carpenter. She's our Director of Development and Special Events. She will also be our walk manager. So those of you who are involved in the walk, you'll be hearing from her very soon. She's ready to get going. Cherie is working on a needs assessment. She's one of our interns. You know Jen and Hannah, and Leslie is working very closely with Jen and Hannah as their support. I wanted to let you know who all our current board members are. These are our current board members. I'm going to go through it very fast, give you a moment to look. There are quite a few new faces as we've added a few people over the summer. And there are a few familiar faces like Nicole and Claudia, who have been with us for a while. But the big piece is we want to honor our outgoing board members. And we have 4 board members who have either reached term limits or are serving on other boards and not able to devote the time now that their term has ended. And so we want to recognize these 4 people. And in recognition, if we were in person, I would be giving each of them a portfolio that says, you'll see the picture here, it says, "You are not alone, NAMI North Texas," to let them know they will always be part of this organization and that they are always welcome to be part of this organization, even though they're not board members. And we want to make sure that they continue to join us at events. So I'd like to recognize Leonard. Leonard, I don't think I saw him come in, but Leonard has been contributing to NAMI North Texas for over 8 years. One of his significant contributions is at our walks. He was our on-call nurse at NAMI Walks, and I would expect him to be our on-call nurse when we can be in person again. And he is a substance use. He focuses on substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders with mental health and other things, and has been a significant piece to our education programs and is always ready to be on call to help any individuals calling our office who do have overlapping concerns, and his expertise would be able to help. Yvonne, I know you are out there. We'd like to recognize you as well, because your contribution to NAMI has been, I don't know how many years you've been involved in NAMI, but Yvonne has been involved at the state level, the local level, and she was part of the leadership for several years in Denton County before Denton County became a part of NAMI North Texas, and she's been on the board and contributing to NAMI North Texas for over 3 years. She was extremely involved in our walks in relation to getting sponsorships, in-kind donations. She's a passionate family member, and she also served as our board parliamentarian to make sure that we always followed the rules. Paul was not able to be with us tonight. He's with family members this evening, but he has been with NAMI North Texas for over 12 years. He is like our resident expert on anything NAMI Dallas, NAMI North Texas. He's been, holding me accountable as board treasurer and doing a fabulous job as our IT specialist because he donates the majority of his time and IT support as in kind to our office. He is selfless with his time and his expertise and doesn't live far from the office. So if we have a computer issue, we can call him up and he'll be right there to fix it. So we really appreciate his help over the years. And then there's Sherry. Everybody knows Sherry. Sherry has been contributing to NAMI North Texas for over 10 years. Previous to that, she was the president of NAMI Collin County. Currently, she's our board president, and not quite sure how many years she's been board president with us, but I know she's been my rock in relation to helping me understand just everything that is available out there and learning the mental health community and what needs, who I need to know, where I need to be involved, and what it means to be part of this community. And she shares her experience in any way she absolutely possibly can. She's always there, and she has and will always have a never-ending passion and support for NAMI and the mental wellness of our community. And at this time, I'd like to see if Tom Collins is out there right now, because he should be here. I'm going to take myself off screen share for a minute, and we'll see if we can't switch this over, because Tom does have something to say in honor of Sherry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Tom Collins here. I have to say, this is one of the smoothest Zoom meetings I've done. Many of them have been much worse than this. So I really do sympathize with your technical issues there. I'm not going to say anything that you don't already know about Sherry. I'm in my 27th year as the CEO of Green Oaks, and I think I hired Sherry 2 months after I got there. So we've worked together a long time. And when you say Sherry is the outgoing chair of the NAMI board, she's really not. I mean, she's going to be just as involved as she always has been. She doesn't need a title. She has a mission. The thing I appreciate most about Sherry, and it will sound odd, I guess, is that, my position as the CEO of Green Oaks, interacting with the community, I have conflicts and take positions and do different things, but Sherry has been steadfast. She is always focused on advocacy. It doesn't matter what position I take about anything. She just keeps advocating, staying involved. And she is the one person on my team who over the years has looked at me many times and said, "You're just wrong. You're wrong. I just disagree with that." And she's wrong, but I do appreciate it. No, sometimes she's right. But she has really made me sort of rethink many things. She's been a great partner, and I think I can't think of anybody who has contributed more to the community and advocacy for patients, the police and their training, NAMI on the local and state level. She is fantastic. And it's one of the things that I am most grateful for, that I've had somebody like Sherry to work with and will continue to work with for what? Another 20 years, Sherry, maybe? We'll set a record. Anyway,
You're gonna make me cry.
we are donating in honor of Sherry's efforts with NAMI and otherwise $5,000. And I just, and who Sherry is as a person more. So thank you for letting me jump in, and I hope you all heard me and I didn't freeze or stop talking or any of those things. So thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Would you like to say anything, Sherry?
Am I unmuted or?
You're unmuted, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Tom. Such a surprise. I don't know if y'all understand how highly I regard Tom Collins. It's obvious I've been at the same job as long as I've been there, and I remember during the interview 27 years ago or whatever it was, saying, because I'd come from a very different kind of a hospital setting. And I remember saying, I will never tolerate any kind of abuse. And Tom said, well, I certainly wouldn't expect you to. And I have always appreciated Tom as a person. His commitment to the population that we serve has blown me away. I was at a hospital where they were very selective about who they would treat. And Tom has always been committed to treating everyone who needed treatment. And it was just such a surprise, Tom. When did you arrange this? Anyway, that means a lot to me, clearly. It does. I'm kind of rattled now, but thank you. And you knew how much that would get me, that you were coming up with that kind of donation. I am just so pleased about that. Thank you. Thank you. Oh.
Well, we all appreciate you, Sherry. We appreciate Paul and Yvonne and Leonard and everything all of you have done for us. And I know I've only been with NAMI North Texas for a year, but everything I hear from everybody is that all of you have put your heart and soul into this organization. So we all appreciate you.
Thank you.
And Tom, thank you so much for being such a fan of Sherry, because
Easy.
we're benefiting as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
But we appreciate the gesture, and thank you for helping me make this a surprise, because nobody else knew except me, Tom, Maria, and Jen, I think, because Jen put together the agenda for today. So we were able to keep it a secret.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was.
So on that note, that ends our annual meeting. We do not have new board members to vote in because we did that over the summer, because we knew everything would end up virtual. If we have more board members to add, we will be sending you emails and doing it the same way we have been doing, and asking you to respond to a Survey Monkey. But thank you all for attending. The next piece of our evening is moving from the annual meeting into a presentation by Sherry and Cherie about mental health as a public health issue and advocacy at all levels. So I am going to do my best. I don't have to speak this time, so as long as I can get the screen share up, I will be taking care of the screen share. And Cherie, the floor is yours. Let me just get that up for you, and we will get it going. Oops, there you go. It's all yours. I'm muting myself now.
Thank you, Dr. Trenton. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Cherie Jackson, and I'm a current public health graduate student at Baylor University. I'm in my final semester of graduate school, and all throughout my program, we have learned about community health and the importance of providing quality and equitable mental health care to serve the community. Next slide, please. So first, I would like to present the mental health trends in Texas for the past 5 years. This data is from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration and divides the data into 3 categories. Adults with a mental health condition, represented by the blue bar, adults with substance use disorder, represented by the green bar, and adults with suicidal ideation, represented by the gray bar. And the numbers on the x-axis represent the percentage of the population. So from 2016 to 2020, we can see a gradual decrease in the percentage of adults with mental health conditions. However, The decrease is not significant enough, as it was roughly only a 2% decrease in total. This trend illustrates the need for more mental health services and initiatives to decrease the prevalence of mental health conditions in Texas. Next, I want to look at the green bar, which represents the percentage of adults with substance use disorder. So from 2016 to 2018, we did see about a 4.5% decrease in this rate, which to me is pretty significant. However, the rate rose from 2018 to 2020. The increase in adults with substance use disorder may signify that individuals have turned to substance use to cope with their mental health conditions. It's crucial that we consider these individuals when developing mental health services and allocating funds. Finally, let's discuss the trends for adults with suicidal ideation, which is represented by the gray bar. This rate has stayed pretty consistent from 2016 to 2020. However, I still believe work can be done to decrease this number even closer to zero. So I do want to mention that the 2020 data was reported earlier this year and does not account for the mental health stressors caused by the pandemic and other events happening in the world. I think this is important to mention as the 2020 numbers are probably a lot higher than represented in this graph. Next slide, please. Next, I would like to discuss the mental health trends by race and ethnicity. So this data is pulled from the US Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health from 2018. I think this graph clearly depicts the racial and ethnic mental health disparities in the US. The graph is divided into three categories again: whether or not they receive mental health services, which is represented by the blue bar, whether or not they reported serious psychological distress, which is represented by the green bar, and whether or not they receive prescription medication for mental health services, which is represented by the gray bar. And again, this data is reported in percentage of the population. So first, I want to look at the difference for those who receive mental health services. Roughly 8.5% of Black Americans and Latinx Americans reported receiving mental health services. This is 10% lower than the percentage of white Americans who receive mental health services. Additionally, Latinx and American Indians reported psychological distress at a slightly higher rate than white Americans. And finally, only 2% of Asian Americans receive prescription medication for mental health services, compared to the 15% of white Americans who receive prescription medication. As I previously mentioned, I think this graph does a great job at illustrating the mental health disparities across racial and ethnic groups in the US. It's crucial that the mental health funding is equitably allocated to underserved minority communities to ensure they get quality mental health services to improve their overall quality of life. Next slide, please. So finally, I want to discuss the mental health funding trends in Texas. So the picture of the United States on the left illustrates the mental health spending gap in the country. Texas is in the bottom 5% for per capita spending on mental health services. Texas spends roughly $41 per capita on mental health services, which is 34% less than the national average. Maine, which has the highest per capita spending on mental health services, spends almost 8 times more per capita than Texas. Next, let's look at the graph on the right, which shows the mental health funding in Texas from 2012 to 2019. From 2013 to 2016, there was about a $1.7 billion increase in funding for mental health services to help meet the service needs. However, from 2017 to 2020, there was a slight decrease in funding for mental health services. Now, if Texas spent $3.4 billion on funding for mental health services, why is Texas still in the bottom 5% for per capita spending on mental health services? So the point I'm trying to get across is that it's important to know how the state funds mental health. It's important to be aware of how the funding is allocated for mental health services to ensure that the funding is being allocated equitably. And ultimately, the state legislature determines the allocation of mental health funding. It is also important to know how to advocate for mental health funding in legislature that will adequately meet the service needs of the population. So now I will turn it over to Sherry to talk more about advocacy and public policy.
Okay. I'm trying to, I will talk, I promise. Now, can you see the Texas legislature online? Can you see that?
We cannot see it. I don't think you have fully shared your screen.
Okay, let me try again. Okay, share. Now is it coming in?
Now it's up.
Okay, very good. Let me maximize that a little bit. First of all, before I get into this tool, which I think is a useful tool, that's why I wanted to show it. But before I get into talking about that, I want to say, I want to share, see, I got all rattled. That was such a surprise. Advocacy can really make a huge difference. And NAMI has a history of being a very powerful advocacy organization. And we could be even more powerful if we all got behind it. We're a large organization. We're international, not just national. So we're in every state and territory. And in Texas alone, we have 27 affiliates. NAMI North Texas is one of those affiliates. Can you imagine if every one of our members and family members contacted their state legislator and let them know what their thoughts were and what they wanted to see happen, the difference it could make? There would be no CIT without NAMI and the family that got that started. Most of you know what CIT is, crisis intervention training with law enforcement. That happened with oh, I see thumbs up there. Claudia's right in there. Yeah, that law enforcement training program that has gone national, in fact, international. And it happened because of a very unfortunate incident in Memphis, Tennessee. And law enforcement received a 911 call. They responded. It had to do with a young man with schizophrenia. He was truly not, I guess, from what the family shared, not a dangerous person, but things went sour, as they sometimes do. And it was an unfortunate outcome. The family sued Memphis Police Department, and NAMI supported them. They partnered with NAMI, and Sam Cochran, he was over the department at the time, or that he was put over the CIT initiation once it got going, and he's very involved to this day in that. He's a friend of mine. I've met him several times. And basically, the family sued, but they didn't want money. What they wanted was training for law enforcement so that nothing like that would ever happen again, and no family would have to suffer the loss that they suffered. And that started CIT, and it caught on, and it's nationwide, and it's a big deal. We're now trying to take it even a step further with the crisis response teams now that you see. So there's all kinds of things that have happened, but that was NAMI's work. So NAMI and the University of Memphis and Tennessee and the police department, with Sam Cochran headed that piece of it, all got together and came up with the CIT curriculum, which is a 40-hour curriculum, and many of our NAMI members have actually volunteered to help with that training. So that's a result of NAMI advocacy. I just want you to know, in case you ever wonder, does it really matter? Yes, advocacy matters. A lot can be accomplished, especially if we are organized in how we pursue it, if we have a strategic approach to how we do it, and we all get behind that and fall in line, we can make things happen. We can be the loudest voice in the room. So one of the tools I wanted to share with you tonight, and I'm very aware of the time, and I know that some of you might rather see a presidential debate than listen to me, and I'll try and get to the point. But one tool that I really live by during a legislative session is this particular website. It's texaslegislature.com. If you just Google that, you'll pull it up, okay? And you can create your own personal account. I've already logged into my account, my TLO. You go over here and you create that. You'll have to make a password and all of that. You can actually enter the areas that you're interested in. I've got my list of subjects right here. You pick the things you want to be notified about and the areas you're interested in, and you can actually get alerts to your email whenever a bill has been filed in that area. Okay, so you can create your account, you can save your searches, you can actually get mobile device support. So I would encourage any of you who are interested in advocacy to get in this website, look around. That's what I had to do. I educated myself on the website when somebody told me about it, and I just went in and looked at everything I could find on the website. I created my alert list. You'll find this to be terrific. Now, I know Cherie just said most of our funding comes from the state, and that's true. Many people are not even are not aware of who their state legislators are. Most of us know who are like our US senators and Congress in the US. We know that, right? We know Ted Cruz, John Cornyn. I have Van Taylor as my representative. Some people might have Eddie Bernice Johnson if they live in Dallas. Those are our representatives to Washington, D.C., okay? And that's one group. But the state, that's different. Your state senator and state legislator, they go to Austin for legislation. And you can find out who that is if you don't know by, see here where it says who represents me. I'm going to enter the NAMI address, and I hope this will work for me. 2812 Swiss Avenue, Dallas. Texas, I think it's 75204 if I'm right. It didn't work. I'll try one more time with another address. But it will give you, it'll tell you all your elected officials, okay? So I'll see if I can bring up Green Oaks. It's not working for me. I don't know why, but, oh no, your screen sharing. I'm not sure what I did here. But whatever I did, I don't think it was right. Can you still hear me at least?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay, let me try and get back into the website again because I've taken myself out. Or we can actually, well, I do want to go back in. No, I can't there. You will be able to pull up all of your elected officials by going to that one place I just showed you. Okay, Texas Legislature Online. TLO, there it is. Now, can you see it?
Yes, we can see it now.
Good. You can, I'm probably gonna have to log in now. But, well, if you go here, you can see how a bill becomes law. So you can learn all about the different phases of passing a bill. And then, remember I was telling you about the bill alert? If something happens and let's say you were real invested in, I'm gonna make something up here. Let's say you wanted Medicaid expansion. If somebody filed a bill about Medicaid expansion, you'd be alerted, okay? If you had put that in there as something you wanted to be alerted about. And it would, and then as it went from one stage to the next, you would also be alerted to that. So it will keep you kind of in the know and it'll come to you through your email. But here's where you learn about all the different things that have to happen for a bill to become law. So, and then you can actually watch the Senate and the House through these video broadcasts on the right-hand side. I don't think you can probably actually see my cursor, but on the right-hand side where it says legislative activity, you can actually watch in process, the House in process. You can watch different meetings. You can watch a hearing if you want to, and keep track of what's going on. If you want to see what bills were filed about Medicaid expansion last session, okay, we know it was, here was the last session, which happened in 2019. Make sure you're in the right session. Enter the, and I'm checking here word and phrase. You could also enter a bill number if you'd rather, but I'm entering the phrase Medicaid expansion, go. Okay, it pulled up all the bills that were filed session on Medicaid expansion. If I wanted to actually look at the bill, said I could look at it here. And these are not real fun to read, to tell you the truth. That's a lot, it's legalese and all that. So sometimes it's good to have a whole committee looking at it to try and decipher what all is included in that bill. You can see where it says my TLO down here, track legislation with bill list, receive bill and meeting alerts. Those will walk you through all that process too. That's probably, you know, you can find out who the Speaker of the House is, what the committees are, who's on what committee. That's important to know too. Now, one thing I will tell you is that during this session, we have at NAMI Texas, I'm on the NAMI Texas Public Policy Committee, and we do have a platform. And we created the platform based on your input. NAMI is truly a grassroots organization. We've always said that. That means that when I talk to a legislator and I say, NAMI thinks this, I'm representing you, okay? And so when we speak, I ask people to make sure that they know what the platform is if they're going to meet with somebody. And there are different ways that you can advocate. You can meet with legislators, you can testify, offer testimony, but we do ask that if you're going to offer testimony that you make sure that you've got the permission of the committee chair and the board to do that, because NAMI is composed of many different people and we have many different opinions. And you've got to make sure that whatever you're saying is consistent with what the members all want. And that's real important. We've had members of NAMI get up and testify before and say, I'm representing NAMI, but then they stated an opinion that wasn't necessarily consistent with the NAMI platform. So it's real important that if you're going to speak for NAMI, you make sure that it's consistent with the platform we've developed. And again, the platform was based on what you told us. We send out surveys, and I hope you look at those when you get them, because that's how we get you to tell us what you want. We ask you to prioritize things. What do you think is more important? Access to care. What's more important to you? This, that, or the other in the way of services. And so we take that at the state level after sending it out all across the state, and we create our platform based on that feedback. So you will receive an email from Athena and from NAMI North Texas that will have as part of it the NAMI the NAMI Texas platform. You will also receive a booklet. It'll have a link to a booklet. I'm going to show you what it looks like right here with lots of information. It basically is a written summary of what you'll get in NAMI Smarts. And you will get information that our legislators have given us in terms of, we sent out surveys asking them to offer us their opinions about mental health. You will be able, and you will be able to go in there, look at the responses. Not everybody responded. That tells you something, right? And you can look specifically in your area and find out what the responses were. So I think that we're going to send you in by email some very, very valuable information. So be looking for that as well. Can you go to the next slide, or do I have to do it?
You have to unshare your screen, and I have to start sharing
Okay.
screen again.
Stop share. Okay. Okay. And then my next slide. No.
We'll get there.
Okay.
There you go. Is that the one you want?
No. No. It should be right after Cherie stuff. Let's see.
That's what I've got.
Okay. Well, just let me share some things then, because I think I can probably remember what I was going to say. But there is another slide in there somewhere. You will get more information from us. Be looking for that. Do sign up for NAMI Smarts. There is a NAMI Smarts class coming up. There'll be a link to that in the email that you get as well. I'm thinking it may be, it's either the 30th or the 31st of this month, but it's coming up very soon. And sign up for that. It will teach you a lot about how you can share your story in a way that would be helpful with legislators. At NAMI, we are known for our lived experience. That's what we have to bring to the table that is incredibly valuable. There are, you know, some of the legislators are numbers people. They want to know how much everything costs. They want to know, you know, numbers of people, numbers of programs, blah, blah, blah. But somehow putting a face on all of that information, people are living this stuff. That shows them a whole different perspective. And when we can do that, well, nobody can do it like a NAMI member, and especially somebody who's been through NAMI Smarts. They'll teach you how to do that in a succinct way, but a way that does capture the attention of others. So we're still trying.
Did you want this slide or a different slide?
It's a different slide.
It
Yeah.
looks like it's slide 17, Cherie. There you go.
That's it.
Okay.
Yay, we got it. I guess if I were to ask you all to do just one thing, I would say identify who your legislators are as homework. Look it up, find out if you don't know. Some of you may already know. I think when you contact them, you should always know what it is you're planning to say to them, but your first meeting could be real brief, and it could be just, you could pick up the phone and call them, ask for a Zoom meeting, and tell them, I am concerned about mental health services. I'm concerned about access to mental health. I want to know your stand on that. I want to know what you think of that. Don't be concerned or offended if you don't talk to the legislator. If you meet with the staffer, it's not a waste of time. In fact, forming a relationship with the staffer can be a very valuable asset. They're the ones who will often call you and tell you, oh my gosh, they're discussing this or that. Can you provide some information for us? Could you come up to the office and talk to so-and-so because they're getting ready to go into session or into a committee meeting, and we need somebody to help prepare some comments about mental health. That's what you want. You want to be a resource to them. So I would say contact your legislator, give them your name, tell them you're a member of NAMI, you're concerned about mental health. You want to know what they think of and think about it, and that you'll be contacting them in the future. Just that simple. And then send them leave and send them a thank you note, and then contact them in the future when different things come up. We will be contacting you. And when I say we, I am on the NAMI Texas Public Policy Committee. You will get notices. I'll be sending them to the staff as I get them. The staff will receive them. They'll say things like, please contact your legislator right away. They're talking about housing for the mentally ill, and tell them that you're in favor of that. When we ask you to do that, please do it. The more people that do it, the more it matters. You can do it by email. You can pick up the phone and call. It doesn't take long. And after every visit, always send a summary of the visit and thank them for their time. Let's see what else. Vote for mental health. If you haven't voted yet, I bet a lot of you have, but if you haven't, make a plan for it. Know where you're going to do it. Set a time, make arrangements ahead of time. That's very important. Again, do your homework, find out where people stand on the things you care about. Sign up for NAMI Smarts. We'll get you the information this week, and you can do it soon. Learn how to share your lived experience. And I will also tell you, and I don't see her face up there, but she's probably still around. Claudia Smith is the public policy chair of NAMI North Texas now. That is something I've done in the past. I'm going to work with her. She's going to let me hang around. I appreciate that. And I'll tell you what, no grass is growing under her feet. That woman is already at it, and she's doing a bang up job, and she's going to. So if you're interested in doing public policy and advocacy in this way, contact Claudia and let her know, I want to be part of your committee. Let's see, what else can I say? That may be about it. Does anybody have any questions? We will have a mental health day at the Capitol again this year. Normally we take a bus full of us down there, and we usually go in February or March. We ride down together. We have a great time. We have a pep rally. We go out and talk to our legislators. We go out in teams. It's really great. We don't really know. For one thing, the session we don't even know how that's going to be yet. That could be virtual. I don't know. So, but we are still going to have a mental health day with the legislature. It may be virtual. It will be in April. We have an exact date. I don't have it off the top of my head, but you will be notified about that. And I hope you'll participate in that and sign up for that. And I apologize. We have gone over. If you were looking forward to the debates, I'm sorry. If anybody has any questions, you can enter those into the chat box and we'll answer them. I don't see any questions coming up. Y'all may be.
I have also, and Sherry, I've also set things up so that people can unmute themselves if they want to
Okay.
and just ask the questions. We have few enough people that it won't be too bad if anybody wants to speak up and ask a question.
Okay. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. No?
Hi, my name is Siham. I'm a new volunteer with NAMI. I just attended the volunteer organization. Everything you just shared was really helpful, Sherry. Thank you so much. My question is, I would really love to get involved with NAMI Smarts, and I just wanted to get a sense of what, not so much the time commitment, but what the typical hours are. If it's like evenings, during the day, weekends, what does it usually look like?
Well, right now, Siham, and thank you for your question and for being here. It's right now, everything is virtual, including the NAMI Smarts training. And so it makes it kind of easy. You don't even have to go anywhere for it. You watch it on your computer and interact with people that way. If I remember right, it was maybe a 2-hour commitment for the first section. There are several different parts. I believe there are 4 different segments to it, but the one coming up later this month, I want to say it's 2 hours, but when I have done it, it was in full days and in person, so I'm not sure, but sign up for it if you possibly can. It isn't a huge time commitment initially. And then, you can take the next segment. We'll offer those at different times. Okay. So just jump in wherever you can. The one that's coming up, I think is really good. It does cover legislative visits. So.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions for Cherie or for me? Either one. She gave some great information too. I wish we could do the bus trip. Y'all would love that. That's really a lot of fun, but I just don't think it's going to go that way this year. Please know that your advocacy makes a difference. If you are interested in sharing your story, NAMI Texas actually collects videos and stories. And, if you're interested in doing that, you can contact me and I can put you in touch with Greg or the NAMI Texas office, Alyssa, and you can record your story for them to be able to use that. They get requests for interviews. So anybody who's willing to, every once in a while they'll say, oh my gosh, the media wants to interview somebody who has a loved one who's been to the state hospital. Is there anybody willing to talk about that? Or is somebody willing to talk about their experience in the criminal justice system, or any number of things? So if you have a story to tell, you could even write it out if you want to and get it to me. My email is sagry.cusimano, CUSUMANO at medicalcityhealth.com. And if you didn't get that down, don't worry about it. Athena knows how to reach me. So does the staff. All the staff knows how to reach me. So, and I'll make sure, and for that matter, they could get your information to NAMI Texas as well. But we could add your story to the library if you like. especially, I would suggest you go through NAMI Smarts first, because that'll tell you how to present that in the most effective manner.
Awesome.
Okay, advocates, any last minute questions or thoughts? Well, I just want to thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for letting me serve in the role I've been in for the last many years. And I'll still be around. I'll be working around the office, and I'm sure I will see you around. So
Thank you, Sherry, so much for everything that you've done.